Okay, we're up and running. Good stuff, good stuff. Check all audio is working.
Okay, we're up and running. Good.
Right. So here we go. Welcome to Football Manager 2026, and this is the Alphabet Challenge. Now, this is the real Alphabet Challenge. None of this, let's start with a club with the letter A, do 1 year, move to a club with the letter B, so on, so on. This is the original OG challenge. This is going to take, frankly, forever. Uh, some ground rules for this. So, every playable nation in the game, you must win the top division trophy. Bonus points for winning any domestic trophies within that, such as, for example, the FA Cup in England or, any kind of domestic trophy. But the main aim for you to complete that nation is to win the top division title. Some of the bonuses along the way is to potentially win all of the Champions League across each of the continents. But there's one small caveat, and that is that I am playing on PlayStation 5, which means there is a 30 season limit. So with that, it means there will probably have to be multiple save files. We will be starting with the top badges, so it will be relatively easy to get a job. Otherwise, it will just be far too difficult, and we'll probably spend most of the first 30 years trying to get out of complete obscurity and into the top jobs. We could do that, but I just feel like that would be, painstakingly extra long. But yeah, I believe in this on the PlayStation 5 version, there is a grand total of 58 playable nations across the 5 continents. So instead of doing the traditional thing of doing Argentina, Australia, Austria, and loading up those 10 divisions in that order, we're going to make it different just to keep it interesting. I've got a big wheel of name spinner here, and I'm going to spin the wheel 10 times, and that will therefore pick our first 10 nations that we're playing. Following on from that first 30 seasons, we'll then load up a second file, and we will then load up any unfinished divisions we haven't done in the first save file, as well as add in, the next number that we need to complete a full 10, and so on until we complete the challenge. Now, this could be a ridiculously long challenge, and to my knowledge, nobody has ever completed it. So here's hoping I will be the first proof to get that done. So without further ado, let's spin the wheel for the first time and see what our first nation is. Okay. And the first nation is Uruguay in South America. So let's get those added in and remove those from the list. Next up, and we get Poland. So let's put Poland in there. That's our nation number 2. Nation number 3 now. And nation number 3 is Czechia. Moving on to nation number 4. Nation number 4 is Austria. So the likelihood is we'll probably end up getting a lot of European countries, seeing as though Europe is the most populated nations with, playable nations within the game. Our next spin is, okay, moving over into Asia to Singapore. So that's our first 5. Let's move on to number 6. And number 6 on the list is going to be Switzerland. So back into Europe and over to the fence sitters. Okay, nation number 7 upcoming. And we get Denmark. This isn't a bad first 10. No extremely huge nations yet, but that's never a bad thing. And next on the list, back to South America, it is Argentina. 2 more nations left. Who are we going to get? Oh, and we are back in Asia with Hong Kong. And finally, to finish off the first 10 playable nations, we get Portugal. Nice. So, I think that is a pretty good first 10 nations, if you ask me. We'll be removing the women's divisions from this. I believe there was only one playable one there over in Denmark. So just to recap then, in alphabetical order, the first 10 nations are Austria, Czechia, Denmark, Hong Kong, Poland, Portugal, Singapore, Switzerland, Uruguay, and Argentina. So we have a little bit of a choice here because the game start dates will all be a little bit messed up. So Argentina's December, Austria is your typical July, Czechia is June, Denmark is June, Portugal is June, Hong Kong is August, so they're near abouts. Same for Portugal area, same for Singapore, Switzerland as well. Right, okay, so it's only Uruguay and Argentina who are off there, so I believe what we should probably do then is start around maybe the Czechia date, because that seems to kind of encompass most of those on there. To look at the advanced settings, so taking a look there, we're not going to allow the first transfer window, just because, you know, that feels a little bit more realistic in itself, so we'll be waiting for obviously the second transfer window. And yeah, let's load up the database. So, as mentioned, you can use the highest coaching badges, which we'll be doing. We will be starting as unemployed. We will then go on holiday and we will look for our first job. Usually what we would try to do, you know, just to maybe add to the realism, we wouldn't kind of, you know, go to like a really huge nation first, but given the context of the nations we've been given, I don't think that's highly unrealistic. I'll maybe try and avoid, you know, maybe Portugal to begin with, just because, you know, that feels like more of a progressive goal to go to, you know, just due to the sort of, you know, big free clubs in there. But the rest of them all seem, you know, pretty good. Denmark is, you know, there's some teams people recognise, but they're not exactly a huge nation. Same thing for Poland as well, some good teams in there. But yeah, I think this will be pretty interesting. So let's start unemployed. Let's change the reputation of our manager. So we will make him a generational superstar and we will make him recognised worldwide for his coaching. So we should have no troubles in finding a job. So let's get this started. So we've already done a test of this alphabet challenge. So we'll be able to do this, and season 1. We'll incrementally save these in separate seasons, just so we can maybe go back and take a look at, you know, some of the places we've finished, especially when, you know, the 30 seasons is up and we can no longer do that. Current list of teams available, there's quite a fair few, but again, I think it would maybe only realistic if we maybe holidayed, let's say 3 months, and pick up from there and then start applying for jobs. You know, I feel like that would be a little bit more, you know, better than just picking up something available, because, you know, we know probably the best out of those divisions there is going to be maybe, you know, Legia, perhaps Bohemians in Czechia, but, you know, I don't want to sort of immediately take a job. So let's have a look and pop ourselves on holiday. We'll do, what are we on, June, so let's, usually around Octoberish time. So we'll move up to there and then we'll pick up from that. So let that go ahead and continue on. You never know, we may even get some jobs without applying. Probably unlikely, but we'll see. So with this save, like I am no fancy YouTuber, I'm no fancy streamer. I'm more so doing this just for the sake of having something there, as proof of doing this challenge. If people want to build up along the way and watch, fantastic. That's great. Come and join. I will stream when I can. A couple of times a week doing this for a couple of hours. Um, so yeah, it's available for anybody to watch. It will go up on my YouTube as well as full stream episodes. Just in case anybody wants to watch back and again have that additional proof of completing the challenge. Um, but yeah, hoping this is going to be fun. It will certainly test me in plenty of nations, where I've not been before. I can feel like I'm a little bit one of the main struggles I tend to have with the game is I'm quite OCD in terms of having badges, kits, and obviously that's not always available in the other nations on the PlayStation. So I think that's always a little bit of a challenge for me to kind of get a um, full sort of connection with the save in the club that I am. But I feel like that we're going to have to go for every nation. That's something that will maybe feel a little bit not more natural as I go through things. So fingers crossed, we get some interesting saves. I think the only thing missing from this, which is a little bit of a shame, is that I can't stream music. So, like, I mean, a lot of the time when I'm doing this, it's just going to be a little bit of silence, uh, which maybe not be the most engaging, but you never know if people come in and watch. There might be a little bit more of that, but I can imagine towards the beginning of things, it might be a little bit quiet. So, please bear with that. But right, we're into October, so let's have a look what's available then. There's a couple, kind of Argentina, Portuguese second league. Not not amazing jobs, nothing there really of interest. But I think what we'll do now is we'll look to go on holiday and we'll apply for jobs at top division. Oh, didn't mean to do that. We'll apply for jobs at top division clubs. And see what we get. See if there's anything that speaks to us that's interesting. So indefinite holiday. Let's top division clubs. Confirm holiday. And let's go. Let's see what we get. Might take a little bit of time, but I'm definitely confident we'll have a couple of jobs to choose from. Unless something really good pops up, I can't see myself taking the very first job. But we do have the options to be able to at least cherry pick a little bit here who we go to. Like I say, I don't want to be, for example, when I go over to England and stuff, I don't want to be like picking, a Man City. I want to pick somebody who's, in and around up there. But, not somebody who I believe is just going to be easy to completely walk the league with. Like I say, sometimes, for example, in this one, this Portugal, and, you kind of have a little bit of a free horse race. So, between sort of like Porto, Benfica, and Sporting. So, sometimes that feels a little bit fairer. Whereas, with the other jobs, some just kind of seem to absolutely trance the league. But we've got our first job offer, so it's Zaglibi, is that Zaglibi in Poland? So whereabouts are they in the Extra League? Extra Larsa, is it? Probably going to butcher a lot of names in this division. So they're down in 15th. Doesn't really. I mean, I suppose you do have to make the concession that clubs that are, fighting near the top aren't really going to get going to be sacking their managers, are they? Let's have a look and see what the season preview was here. So they were predicted ninth. I mean, based on the first offer, don't think it's something I'm going to go for. It doesn't look likely. I mean, looking at the division, I mean, Leisure are running away at the top with 27. They are down in 15. I mean, it's 12 points. It's doable. It's a challenge, but if we jumped at the first opportunity, we could miss out on something. So we'll leave that one for now. You never know, we may come back to regret that, but we'll go back on holiday, see if anything else can pop up. And immediately another job application. So who is this? Is this another Polish team? Is that? Oh no, okay. Austria. Graza AK 1902. Let's have a look where they are. So they're in 10th, 11 points. I mean, way off Austria Vienna. Up in 26th. I mean, not amazing. I just don't think, again, that's going to be the right opportunity for us just yet. So we keep searching. They say beggars can't be choosers, but we're going to be the exception to that rule right now. Okay, we've got another job offer, Barracas Central. I'm pretty sure that's Argentina. Could be Uruguay. Let's have a look. Where are they? Oh, this looks like a second division team. Is it? Let's have a look. Ah, yes. So they're in a relegation dogfight. So that's not going to be a viable option. Um, we don't want to be sort of taking jobs that's going to threaten us. I mean, it may be worth. I mean, I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but if we do the sort of high reputation clubs, I do kind of worry maybe, that will sour up the opportunities because there will be fewer and far in between. But hang on a minute, River Plate is available. So that could be a really good shout if we get that. We have got the job offer from MRT in Portugal. But again, second division club, why are we being given those kind of jobs? And that's not the kind of ambition we're going for. But I do see River Plate available, and that could be a really good opportunity if we could get that offer. See if we get that. Toleres. So I'm thinking maybe that where are these? So these look like they're in the Argentinian Premier Division. Can we see the? How do I change this to the actual? I mean, some of these divisions are confusing. I mean, they've got big reputations, so I mean, it can't be that bad. Let's have a look. I mean, River Plate is available. Have I already applied for that? No. I mean, what's it doing not applying for that? It's a huge job. And I mean, and it's got a badge as well, which is always a huge bonus for me, as I mentioned earlier. I mean, I think we're going to go all out for River Plate, maybe. Where have they finished? They must have had 11th. Oh my God. I mean, they've had a bit of a stinker, haven't they, really? Okay, let's see what comes of this then. I have to get through all of that. Leisure available again. That could be a good opportunity. We'll apply for that one. God, the UI on this can be so difficult. Jagiellonian. I mean, that's two pretty big jobs applying for. Okay. So we've been offered the Leisure job, but I am tempted to get Argentina out of the way. So what I might do is delay this decision for a week and see if we get the River Plate job. I mean, nothing so far. Leisure have come back again. Let's see if they will delay again. They've agreed to delay again. Interesting. Nothing come through yet. And I don't think... Oh, I mean... We may have to take this job. I mean, obviously Leisure are a very good team. How did they finish? I mean, they finished second. I mean, they didn't miss out by much, which is very interesting. Let's have a look at their fixture schedule. I mean, does their season restart? Is their season over? I mean, it seems to be. I mean, surely not. I mean, do they have like a mid-season break? Because you would think May. When was their pre-season? June. Because I mean, looking at this, that to me doesn't seem like a finished season. Interesting. I mean, we could hop on here 3 points off the top. out of all the domestic cup competitions, which is, a bit disappointing. But I mean, we could go in and tick one straight off. No full season, 6 months, get one ticked off, continue on our merry way. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me have a look at their squad. Let's see what we're working with. I mean, they're not scoring a huge amount of goals. Jean-Pierre Nisame. Or Insame. Mijeta Rajovic. I mean, he's got some pretty good mentals, pretty aggressive, but I feel like that's a necessity to be playing football in Poland. Not many great average ratings, only kind of two. Oh, Ruben Vinagre. Yeah, he played for my club at Hull City. Yeah, a very ill learned spell. I had huge hopes for him. I thought he was going to really make an impact. I really, really hoped he would, but he just couldn't get fit. But he seemed to have a little bit of a bounce back. Played over at Hellas Verona and then went to Legia for 2 million. And he seems to be evidently playing well. I mean, what kind of depth are we talking? A little bit of definitely depth in centre back, especially in the middle of the park. I mean, would probably, by the look of things, I mean, we could play a non-winger system, but then at the same time, would be denying Noah Weibhaupt, who's also the only other person on a good average rating so far this season. Let's compare before we make this decision, and let's compare that with River Plate. 41 players in this squad. That is an unbelievable amount of depth, by the way. I mean, they've got a good few on average ratings despite finishing 11th. Very interesting. Oh, this is difficult. I'm going to save the game because there's just a part of me that just feels maybe if we do get the River job, we've got a full season to do, and that feels just a little bit more accomplished, than it would taking over for 6 months and guiding them to a league title. I mean, yeah, there's a story within that, and that is pretty good within itself. But let's have a look. I'm on yearly save files anyway. I mean, we'll try and ask them for a delay, but I don't think they'll do it again. Yeah, they rejected the delay. Right. Let's see whether we get this job. If not, we'll come back. I just don't understand why, they're taking so long, but here they are. We made the right decision. No disrespect, I feel like there's always plenty of potential in Poland, but I mean, it's a little bit odd reasoning to do so, but Argentina obviously only has the one club with a badge, and that seems like a really stupid way to pick things. But within that, it's it's an opportunity that may not come along again, you know. Whereas I feel like, there's plenty of options in Poland. You have, Liège, you have Lech, you have Cracovia, you have some big teams, Piast and stuff like that battling up there, which is, seems plenty to kind of choose from and be available. So, um, let's take the River Plate job. No transfer budget. Always good, but right. Well, here we go. Officially, our first job in the Alphabet Challenge, and we are at River Plate in Argentina. They've had a terrible year. They finished 11th. This is now a new season for them to come into. There may need to be some big change. Let's do the introductions. I don't often do these, but maybe just worth going through those. I mean, we're going to let our assistants take over sort of, the training side of things, friendlies and all of that kind of thing, unless I'm wanting to kind of test tactics and, get a really deeper understanding of some things, but for the main part, we will allow the staff to take over the things that need. Looks like we've got some good players. Kind of criminal, really, by, as a brief overview, that they've finished so awfully, really. Okay, club expectations. So what are they wanting from us? They want us to reach at least the knockout stage of the Copa Libertadores. Is that it? Finishing the Premier Division's top two places. Okay. And reach the Argentinian Premier Division opening stage final. I may need to have a look at the rules in Argentina because some of these kind of South American Asian divisions kind of have some, very odd rules. So maybe we'll have taken a look at this and finding out the rules. And I think the rules are around here. I mean, that's a lot better seeing that as well. Right. I swear it's so difficult to find, but I swear there is. I mean, where are the rules? I have done this before, I just cannot find it. Oh, do you know, I am so blind. Right, let's have a look. So, 5 subs, yeah, that's fine. Transfer windows 1st of January, we are there now, so we can, maybe look for some loans, free agents, sell some players on. Yeah, that seems all okay. So, okay. The problem with that, it's not really giving us many other rules. Free agents may be signed in a free transfer window. Doesn't seem to be any foreign spot rules by the look of it, which is good. Okay. So what do we want to be? Well, I tend to go with consistency, teamwork, and dedication as my main principles. I feel like that guides kind of what I want to be able to do and what I want to get out of the team. So we'll accept that current vision. Got a few players unhappy, but for now we will we'll review that, see where to go from there. Um, okay, right. Let's have a look at this squad. Let's have a look at this. All right, I see when we was looking 42 players. That's just, I'm assuming, the whole squad. But still a big healthy 26 players in here. Got a couple of aging players. I mean, first things first, let's see who's on the most money. So we got Sebastian Derassi, or is that Driussi? Drusi? He's pretty good. Good deep line forward. That might work well in the tactic that I'm potentially thinking about here. But I do think it's maybe time to move some of these older players on. Picking up quite a bit of wages. But I'm not also sure quite what kind of pull the Argentinian division's going to have for bringing players over. I mean, somebody like, Franco Armani here is going to have to go. Still very good stats for his age, but, he's eating up 30k a week. We've got to give some opportunities for some sort of young, hungry players. Let's have a look who we're good in terms of value. Kevin Castano. Only he's worth 15 million, but in all reality, he's not amazing. Lucas Martinez Quatra. He's very good. He'll be a mainstay in the team. Okay, in terms of current ability then, so he's our top. Got Paulo Diaz. He can play as an inside fullback as well. Enzo Diaz. Does seem to be a pretty aging team. Anybody with good potential? I mean, I know it shouldn't really matter anyway due to his, hopefully not having to stay for long. But oh, hello, Augustin Roberto, 5-star potential. He looks pretty decent. And Ulises Jimenez looks pretty decent as well. So we've got some good young players. Juan Cruz Meza, he looks good. Santiago Espindola, he's okay. And Ilian Jimenez, now he looks very good. He's 21. I mean, I definitely feel like he should be, have a higher current ability on there as well. But very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's see. Okay. Right, let's have a look what positions we've got covered then. Try and figure out what tactic's going to be best. I mean, we've got quite a lot of centre backs. 2 right backs, a left back, wing back. So we're okay defensively. Again, stacked very much so in the middle. Maybe just a little bit of quality here, but I feel like we need to kind of figure out, who to kind of sell and where to kind of improve. Okay. Winners. Again, we've got plenty. Not too much in the way of huge quality. So that could be maybe an area of improvement. Maybe a striker as well. But I think I have a rough idea of how I want to play. But I think what we should maybe do first then is look at sort of shifting some of these older players on for sure. So let's get these guys. I may prove myself a little bit unpopular here, but let's just offer these players out, see what we can get for them. Do 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 do. I mean, he's good. Do we keep him? I mean, he's old, but you know, I feel like those kind of stats can't be ignored. So we'll put a flag on him for now. I think Acuna will need to go. Again, great current ability, but you know, I feel like maybe depending on what we can, you know, what we might be able to get for him potentially. I mean, it never hurts hearing out some offers anyway, doesn't it? So let's see if we do get any. I mean, these players are not showing a value because they're shown as strictly not for sale, but you know, we don't listen to the rules. We do what we need to do. It's always worth at least hearing some offers out and assessing from there. Meza, he's worth 1.7 million. 33. He's not on a huge amount of money either, but again, I feel like, you know, maybe we could probably bring him better than that. Again, always worth at least hearing some options. You know, I feel like, you know, we can create a bit of a younger, hungry team to challenge. You know, I feel like maybe part of this aging team is the reason they finished 11th in the season that they've just had in game. So, Jeremiah Ledesma, goalkeeper, 32. I mean, I definitely think he's worth keeping, whether that be backup or, you know, maybe even starting. Miguel Borgia. I mean, he's scored some goals, hasn't he? By any Aluko maths, that's a goal a game. I think he may be worth holding on to. Paulo Diaz. Definitely worth holding on to. Enzo Diaz, yep. So I think that's kind of trimming some of the age off the squad. Not entirely, but we don't want to leave ourselves short. And again, just looking at value, is there anybody, you know, we feel like we could ship on and sort of maybe bring in better? I mean, he's good. I mean, I don't really think there is much that we can argue with here. So I think that will do for now at least. Let's have a look in our reserves, see if we've got any talents. Anybody with good current ability? Juan Fernando Quintero. Oh my lord, I remember him. I mean, he's a quality player. He's 32. I mean, he could still do a job. And let's move him back to the senior squad. He could be an impact player. You know, you can never deny that kind of thing. I mean, anybody of real value? 6.4 million. That's Espinaldo. I mean, to people long-term saves, they'll probably, you know, dislike I'm going to do this. But the fact that, we want to try and leave clubs in a healthy place, but realistically, what is the chance of this fella, you know, playing at least any time soon? Maybe worth at least again hearing some offers out for him, if we get any. Looking on the potential side of things then, who we got? I mean, we figured Augustin Roberto is pretty good. I think he's worth going into the senior team at least. De La Costa, sorry. Felipe Esquivel, pretty decent. Juan Cruz Meza. Let's get him in the first team. Right, let's have a look at what tactic they've been set up with. They've been playing vertical tiki-taka, 4-2-3-1 deep, on a balanced mentality. But I think I'm going to change this up. You know, I feel like we have the quality in this league to be able to do this. I'm going to play the traditional tactic that I am playing over in my York save. You know, maybe not actually, because you know we do have that attacking midfielder role. Maybe. Interesting. I mean, we're not changing it too much other than, you know, changing to wing backs, but you know, we could get pretty weird with it, but I don't think that's going to help. You know, we all need to sort of figure out what kind of identity we want to be playing with. You know, what roles are we going to play? We've got, you know, box midfielders, deep line playmakers. I mean, obviously, a number 6 is your most important role. You know, and we're sort of playing 2 number 6s. You know, but do we want one to kind of, you know, play more of a half back and drop into the centre back, cover into a free? You know, are we, and you know, sort of one to play as a box to box playmaker, for example, who kind of, you know, moves up, or you know, um, or as a deep line playmaker, trying to kind of, you know, make that hook into the wide areas and into the attacking midfielder. Very interesting. We may have to get a little bit experimental with this. Well, I think what we'll do is, it's a nice short intro to the game. I think I'm going to have a think about what sort of tactic I want to play. And now we have our team, we've been over the rules, we know where we're going. Um, you know, I feel like when we come back in episode 2, we can really get things kicked off. You know, have a clear tactical strategy and identity of where we want to go with the team, look at the recruitment, you know, and hopefully get into some games. So, you know, if anybody has watched, thank you very much for sticking through and watching. You know, like I say, if you subscribe over on my YouTube channel, you know, you can get a notification for when I do go live for future streams on this. You know, and if not, that's fine. If you're watching this now, whether you're watching this in the future, maybe you are watching this once I've already completed the challenge and I'm mega famous all over the world. Who knows? Who knows? That is the beauty. But thank you very much for watching if you have, and take care.